I have seen a couple of posts in the Facebook groups over the last couple of days about how to do something like this, where you get a name or an initial and you split it in half. They're very popular for wedding invitations or even like Mother's or Father's Day. So I wanted to show you how to do this because it's super simple and it doesn't cost any money. You don't have to have any subscription to be able to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is create this last name, which you can see is Smith, and it's just cut in half. So I'm going to click on my text box and I'm just going to type in Smith, and I will change the font to something a bit simpler to read, like Bell. And I'm using system fonts deliberately because then I don't have to pay for any of this. I don't need a subscription. Now, the first thing I'm going to do after I have my name is make it a dimension that's going to be easy to split up, right? So for argument's sake, let's just make it a height of 2 inches, and it'll make sense why I need an easy dimension in a second. What I'll do is I'm going to go to my shapes and select the square. Now, I want to make this half the height of the name, but the same length. So this last name, I'm going to copy this dimension, or you can just remember it, 9.859 by 2. So this square here is going to be 9.859 wide. I'm going to click on that little padlock because I don't want to lock the ratio. And I'm going to put this as half of the height, which is 1. Okay, so that is going to slice my name in half. Now I also need to create boxes for these 2 little strips that basically make it so it's not all these pieces just rolling around in the ethos. I'm going to weld this all together. So I'm going to duplicate this box here, but I'm going to make this the same width, but I'm now going to make this 0.1 of an inch. And you can make it as thin or as thick as you want. And then duplicate that again. And I can just leave those there for a second. Okay, so for my last name, what I want to do is select the last name and the box. Okay, you can also click and drag on your screen to select everything. And click on this little align button at the top. I'm going to align it horizontally, and then I'm going to align it to the bottom. So now I know that that box runs exactly halfway up that name, and I'm going to slice. I will delete the first 2 layers because I don't need them, and what I'm left with is this last name cut in half. Now I don't want to move them around on my canvas because they'll get out of sync. And then if I try and align them again, it's not going to work out equally. So all I'm going to do is click on that top half of the name, and on my keyboard, I'm just pressing the up button so that it moves directly up. I don't want to do it with my mouse because it will get out of sync. Now the first, I keep saying that, I'm going to get one of these boxes, the thin strips, and put it, it doesn't really matter where you put it, like towards the bottom of the top half is fine. We'll align it in a second, and the same for the bottom one. Most important thing here is I want these 2 strips to be aligned. If it doesn't necessarily match equally with the last name, I'm not too worried, but the most important thing is that these 2 strips match so that the name looks right. So select the 2 strips, align center horizontally, so I know that they're right. I'm now going to select the top half and the strip. So I just clicked and dragged on my canvas to select them both. I'm going to align that to the bottom, and I'm going to weld that together. And then I'm going to do the same for the bottom half. So align it. Now I'm going to align it to the top, and you'll see that the last name jumped up to meet the top of that strip. Combine that by welding it, and there you've got that name. Now, if you move that around, once you select both halves and then align it both horizontally, it'll look exactly how it's meant to look. The next thing is I'm going to separate the names. I'm going to add a text box. I'm going to type in this example, the wedding couple, and I'll change that to a funkier font, like Edwardian script. I'm going to make this the same width as I did before. So I've still got that dimension in my copy paste. And I'm going to align all of these horizontally so this all matches up. Now I'm just going to move the top half down a bit, the bottom half up a bit. Again, it doesn't matter if they're not aligned because we can always realign it. Okay, so I kind of like how that looks. I'm going to align it all horizontally, and then I'm going to combine and weld it together. And now I have this little icon, and I can make it bigger or smaller and do whatever I want with it. Another thing you might want to do, if I just undo that world, is you might just want to do the top and the bottom welded together. So then maybe you could have that as a different color, and then you could do the name in a different color as well if you wanted to. So a couple of different options there, but otherwise you can just weld it all together, and then you've got those names sitting in between that last name, and you're all done.